So I really don't know how to open. Amanda pointed out that I always start the podcast with, all right.
Every single one.
And now I don't know what to do. Hello, everyone.
It's better.
How are you?
With an accent.
I can't see. I'm going blind. Oh, man. So obviously Amanda is back in the studio. The last time you were in the studio was actually the breakup podcast. Well, for mine, you've been here a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
But we really ended up, we aired it on both, but we really promoted it on yours.
I get to be a guest for the first time in a long time today. Since November.
Since November. Are you nervous?
No, actually not at all. I feel really good right now.
Good. I obviously had some technical difficulties. There's no TVs operating. My computer's being a shit. And that is what it is. So we're just going to continue on. As usual, I have no plan of what to talk about, which I feel like makes Amanda nervous. I
asked Dave what he was going to talk about today, and he was like, oh, I don't know. And I said, oh, okay, good.
Stuff.
But I'm also like, I have like this like sickness, something going on in my head. So my voice sounds weird today. So now I'm thinking about that. Like I sound nasally.
Nasally?
Which is, I sound nasally to myself, but
yeah.
maybe not to other people.
No, you sound pretty normal. Maybe slightly different.
So I always sound nasally?
I think the nasally is in your head.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll go with that.
This computer is 100% ready now.
Well.
Too late.
You have too many recordings today to mess with that.
I do have a lot of recordings. I have you, and then we have Tony after this.
Yeah.
Iceman Tony.
Iceman Tony Johnson.
And then we have your recording.
Yes.
But one thing I did want to get into is it seems like recently the yoga studio has really taken off, Empowered Yoga.
Yeah. So if this is the first time you guys have heard my voice, I own a yoga studio here in town, in Steubenville. And I've had the yoga studio for 3 years now, but we took maybe like a 9-month break, maybe a little shorter, give or take. But we took like a 9-month break where I was transitioning into a different space. And I found the space for this studio actually in January of 2020.
Sweet.
Yeah. And then started like renovating and stuff like that. And we were set to open 2 days after they actually like shut everything down in March. So I was going to open that week and they were like, just kidding.
Just kidding. Nothing's opening.
Yeah. So we've been in the new spot now for a year, but we actually didn't get to open until May. So May 30th was our first day. Since then, though, it's been growing. Partially, I think, because we do hot yoga there. So we use these infrared heating panels. Infrared heat is a lot better for your body than regular just dry heat. And I think that everybody was like, oh, it's winter. We want to go somewhere warm. I guess we'll go try that hot yoga thing. And then a lot of people that did, give it that chance have really like found a practice that feels good to them. So
yeah,
I love all the people that come in. It makes me really happy.
Yeah, well, I just know I see the Facebook and stuff all the time, and it's just always a full class, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's been nice to meet so many people and connect to so many people.
Yeah. And then are you talking about, well, yeah, they're on the website, but you have retreats and stuff logged in too. Now here goes my voice.
I have a retreat planned for the public in May. There's still a couple spots open for that. We've been taking applications. I can only take 12 with me for that retreat. Once I posted that retreat, though, there was a group of people actually that contacted me and wanted to do a private retreat. So I'm doing that in April. One in April, one in May. I'm so excited. It's like my favorite thing ever. I get to go somewhere with my yoga people and do all kinds of life-changing things. I can't be any happier about that.
Yeah, to me, that's really exciting. Literally, you went from opening a new space after a long hiatus to like, oh man, when are we going to actually open?
Yes.
To full classes and booking yoga retreats for the first time.
Yeah. And that's just thanks to, the people that teach with me. I have, I guess, kind of 5 like fluctuating teachers that teach with me. One doesn't teach all the time. One is, going to get married in the next year, and she's kind of taken a break. And then 3 others now. One's almost kind of brand new. But I mean, without them and the support from the community, we wouldn't be going on retreats this year. So yeah, can't really take all the credit.
Well, and you also now offer, which I actually went to a class and I thought it was awesome. What is it? Guided breathing and meditation.
Yeah. So I just had recently a woman had gone to her own retreat and found breath work there, and it like changed her life.
Yeah.
She just couldn't believe how powerful it was. If you don't know what breath work is, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're working on this kind of controlled pattern of breathing. So it's kind of like a rhythmic breath. You like breathe in a pattern from anywhere from like 20 minutes to an hour. And it your body's nervous system responds to it. So it takes your body from sympathetic, like fight or flight, that fight nervous system. Is what we operate in all day long. And it takes your body out of your sympathetic nervous system and moves it into your sympathetic, which is your sleep, resting nervous system.
Yeah.
Where you get to like heal and restore, and all of your body's normal things can rest.
Yeah.
But that's what breath work is for. And it also helps with like anxiety, just basic. Like if you're thinking about your breathing, you can't be thinking about anything else.
Right.
If you're thinking about just your breath. So she had this awesome experience with breath work, and she came home and she was like, man, like, I've got to tell you about this. And I'm like, yes, please tell me. And she was talking about it. She was like, I really want to host a class. And I was like, then you should do it. So she asked me to rent the space for a single class. And I was like, Lisa, people really liked this. And she was like, maybe I come and teach full time. So she's doing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 classes that are open to the public per week. And those have been booked. So she's also doing private classes.
Yeah. I was actually looking at trying to get into it again because I really enjoyed it when I did it. And I had to look like 4 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's really excited about how many people have had like really good experiences with it, but now she's struggling to fit everybody in, which is a good problem to have, but
it's the problem to have if you're going to have one.
Yeah. It's really cool though that I think that it's kind of hard. Like you hear guided meditation and you're like, oh, I don't know what to expect from that. Like, how was your experience with it? Because you were brand new and I was like, hey, Dave, you should try this class out.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. And I definitely found a nice relaxed space. But like you were saying, when you focus on your breathing, that you can't really think about anything else. Mm-hmm. But I was losing track of my breathing from time to time, or at least I may have still been doing the right breaths, but I wasn't paying attention to it because my brain did wander some.
Yeah,
but,
it will.
Well, yeah. Well, and as far as I've always, because I've looked into meditation a bunch of times, as far as I've always been told, like, yeah, it's actually how it really works is you focus on your breathing, nothing else, and then your mind wanders, and then you realize it, and then you bring it back, and then you realize it, and then you bring it back.
So like meditation, I think people think that it has to be this like clearing of thought. Like there can be no thought. Yeah. And that's like the goal of meditation, but really it's the awareness. Right. It has nothing to, I won't say nothing, but it's less about the clearing of your thoughts and more about like, are you even aware of what your body's doing? Yeah. Can you notice that your mind is drifting?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awareness is definitely what it's about. Yeah. But then the faster breathing was hard for me to kind of keep up with. Yeah. Which I think you said you had a problem with initially as well.
Yeah. Starting out, she moves you through variations of breath technique where you're breathing in for like counts of 4, breathing in for counts of 2, and then this one period where you're breathing in and out as fast as you can, and you have to like move through your diaphragm, move through your belly, and like let the breath come in and then let it move back out quickly.
And she wants you to make as much of the noise as possible.
It's really less about like you have to make this noise and more about like how free can you let yourself be? Right. Like what'll happen if you can just let yourself like be full of breath and then let it out like audibly. Yeah. And that's where a lot of the emotional triggers come from. Like you can actually like breathe through trapped emotions in your body. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally like,
yeah, but quicker, like times 10.
Like way faster. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do it. But it was a really great experience. And then probably the weirdest isn't maybe the right term, but the part that struck me the most is when she would come around with certain things, and like towards the end, she came around with the chimes.
Yeah.
And when she came around with the chimes, like when she was at my feet, like I felt like I could feel it in my foot. And then as she moved it, I felt like I could actually feel it in my body as it went around.
So that's a really cool. Go ahead.
It was actually really relaxing, and like you said, being aware of your body.
It's a really cool thing. Like your body responds to different frequencies, like different like hertz and music. You respond to it. So those chimes are kind of like an addition to all of the emotions that you bring out with your breath.
Yeah.
Those chimes can kind of like, I don't want to say like take you, like a lot of people say like it takes you to a different dimension. Like hearing that might scare people off. But I really think that's the only way to put it.
Well, I can say I didn't go to a different dimension, but I would say that I totally believe you can get there. There's actually, there are actually quite a few people that say, and I forget what they actually call it, but there's actually quite a few people that say through those breathing techniques and stuff like that, they get the same effect. They can get to a point of the same effects as taking like a hallucinogen.
Yeah. Just like a heightened state of consciousness.
Yeah. So, and
everybody's capable of it. It's not that like you have it and I don't. Like everyone's capable of getting there. It's just, can you let yourself get there? Right.
If you're, I think you have to be using the breathing techniques correctly, and you have to be willing to let go.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And if you aren't aware of, which is like why Lisa does it the way she does it, through the guided meditation, you don't know how to get there unless you know how to get there.
Right.
So her guiding you it's a really beneficial thing, to be guided through something like that rather than just like sitting on your kitchen floor like, okay, I'm going to meditate today.
Yeah, I much prefer the guided. I've tried to meditate a few times and it lasts like 10, 15 minutes.
It's really funny. Like I think sometimes like, how did I get here? Like, how did I start this experience? And I remember being, I mean, it's like one of my earliest memories. So I had to have been maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I remember in my 5-year-old brain thinking, can you think nothing? And I don't know why I ever did that. I mean, I was 5. I don't know why I ever thought that, but I was like, can you think nothing? And for some reason, every time I would try to think of nothing, I would picture like white, like everything was white. And then Disney princesses would pop up in my head. like I would be able to do it, like think nothing. And I'm like, no, think nothing, think nothing, think nothing. Cinderella. And I'm still like one of the earliest memories that I have. So I sometimes wonder like if this was always supposed to be my path somehow.
Yeah. I can believe that. I mean, you're wearing Buddha pants.
Oh yeah. You guys gotta watch the video. I feel like I gotta get up now for the video. You gotta see these.
The fancy pants. No, they're actually
MC Hammer pants.
Yeah, they are kind of like MC Hammer pants.
The back looks like a diaper. A little bit.
But since you've, I think you have a couple of pair of those, and you tend to wear them a lot now.
I wear them all. Well, I teach yoga on Saturdays. We're recording this on a Saturday, so if I teach yoga back to back, I wear them. And it's the weekend, and these are the most comfortable pants I've ever worn in my whole life. So I basically just want to wear them for everything. It's funny, too. Like, everybody at the studio now is like, where do you get those? Yeah. How can we have those?
I thought I was going to be making fun of you when you started wearing them, but I'm actually, they look awesome. They're cool.
I was actually here at the studio when I was scrolling through shopping for my first pair. And Dave was like, what are you doing? Like, you look way too happy right now. And I was like, look, you gotta look at these pants. And he was like, you are not gonna wear those pants, are you? And here I am.
And here she is. But yeah, they look good. So you won that battle.
Yeah, thanks.
Now I'm pondering getting my own Buddha pants.
Yeah. What was, we watched a movie together one time that the guy, I don't remember what guy, I don't even remember what movie it was, but he was like pseudo homeless. And you were like, I'm thinking of going for the pseudo homeless look. And I was like, yeah, please don't.
I think the pseudo homeless look is good. I think it works great for Jason Momoa.
Yes, yeah, you're not wrong. And I just picture, like, though, if you wore Buddha pants, like, you would nail pseudo-homeless.
Yeah?
With Buddha pants, yeah.
That's funny because they're pretty expensive.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're pretty expensive. These are, I mean, I don't know. Like, people pay, like, $100 for a pair of jeans sometimes.
Not I.
No, me neither. But there definitely was a point in my life where I had a $100 pair of jeans. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll find $100 jeans at TJ Maxx for like $20.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what
I'm a big fan of TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
This shirt is from TJ Maxx. This jacket is from TJ Maxx as well. I'm sure I could find something else.
How about those socks?
No, these socks are from Altered States, not TJ Maxx.
Altered States.
Yeah.
You're really sticking with a theme here.
Yeah, really. I really like to find a through line for my life and stick to it. That's why my podcast is called Be Kind.
Yeah. Which, when you first got to the studio today, I was playing just random songs, and the song that was on when you came in was Be Kind.
I know.
That was the name of the song.
The universe knew.
Crazy.
Yeah, it knew. Knew I was coming.
And then another thing I wanted to talk about was actually me and you have recently started and still kind of trying to figure out what we're doing here, but a new LLC called The One You Feed Labs.
Yes.
And eventually we will be doing yes.
You did a voice when you came on today, so I figured I'd try one for myself. Yes.
Yes. Very nice. Very nice. So we're gonna be renting out studio space as soon as I get it professionally set up. Because
it really doesn't need to be that professional.
Well, not professional, but better than we started today. Oh.
So you do this thing. You did it when I'm just going to call you out on your own podcast.
Here we go.
You do this thing where you see something that you want. I mean, people do this in general. Everyone does it. I've done it. You see something that you want and you think of all of the obstacles in the way of that thing. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, well, this is going to be too difficult. I'm either A, just not going to do it. I'm either B, going to procrastinate because all of those things seem too scary. Or C, I'm just going to take my time and say this all has to happen before I actually start the thing.
Yeah.
When really you could just start the thing. And looking at this space right now, because I podcast here too, there is nothing wrong with this space.
Yeah.
So all that needs to happen is you just start.
All right. So if anybody wants studio space, come on down.
This is kind of how the LLC started, though. Dave was talking about how I use the studio space for my podcast.
Yeah.
And we have another friend recently who I've been friends with for a few years and introduced to Dave, and he's actually the person that's going to be on the podcast next. Yeah. Tony has his own podcast, and Tony was asking Dave for some help with different audio stuff and just, hey, how do you do this? And I said, Dave, you realize you're sitting on this thing that like could be a thing for you. Like, you really want to make podcasting something that you do professionally, solely professionally. Why not start your own business with it? Like, why not offer your professional, whether you want to look at yourself as a professional or not?
Very professional. Look at me.
Why not, offer people your expertise and rent it out and use it as a business?
Yeah. Well, and then it came about again, really, when I asked you to help me build a website for Gathering of Fools, and you were like, or you could start a website for the studio and form an LLC.
So I listened to this other podcast recently, and she's one of my favorite people on the face of the earth. If you're a female and you're listening to this, she doesn't relate to as many men. But if you're a female, you should look up Rachel Hollis. I've talked about her before. But she has a podcast, and when I was listening to her podcast one day, it shifted from, I don't remember, it might have just been the Rachel Hollis podcast or Rise podcast, or I can't remember what it was called, but she said before it, like, her intro included, this is a 3% chance production. Yeah. And I was like, that's new. When did that get there? And then she has a friend who she helped start a podcast named Trent Sheldon, and he is also a 3% chance production podcast. And I was like, oh, I see what they did there. Yeah. So really it was just something smart, like just a smart business move. Yeah. So that's how it came about.
If nothing else, I can start writing off stuff that I have for the podcast. But
exactly.
I am excited to try to rent out the studio space, and also it won't just be renting out the studio space if you want to do a podcast. We will be able to come to you. I have all the stuff that we need to travel, and if you have a location that you think would work well for whatever you're trying to do. And also I'm going to get into we're going to get into doing commercials.
Yeah.
Because when I worked for another company, we paid a lot of money for a really crappy commercial. Which then, if I compared them to other ones, it's like, well, this is how a lot of them are. So
Yes.
crappy is not really the right term. But now, with the stuff that I've taught myself how to do, I know I could do as good or better than that. So
Yeah.
that's another thing we're going to offer.
Do you want to talk about the marketing side in general?
Yeah, I definitely think we should.
So something that I've done. Were you gonna say something else?
Well, I was just going to say I can't remember if this is how we initially came upon it, but I know at one point I had said something like we could even offer a package where we also do their social media.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit because I have, if you've listened to my first podcast on Gathering of Fools from the summer, I talk about the multi-level marketing business that I ran, the makeup business, direct sales. So that taught me a lot about how social media works and how you should market properly. And since then, I've done all of my own social media, obviously, for the yoga studio and then personal. But I also was hired to do a local salon social media. There's actually 2 salons that I've done their social media, but one I just kind of dabbled in it. The second one actually hired me kind of part/full-time, where I took their pictures. I took pictures in the salon. I'd edit them, throw them up on social media, go through and do a lot of the social media stuff that has to happen to make it work.
Yeah.
That nobody sees, like behind the scenes. So managing social media accounts was something that I just kind of knew how to do, and I never knew that it was a thing. But at the gym one day, I ran into a friend who is now a friend, and she said that for work she did social media management, and I was like, no kidding.
Yeah.
I had no idea that anyone else did what I do. I thought it was just a thing that I did.
There's a lot of people that make a lot of money from it.
Yeah, so then I started looking it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually a really big business.
Yeah.
So I now don't have the time as much anymore because of all of the things that we talked about, the yoga retreat, the yoga studio. I really want to focus on that. So I don't have as much time to manage social media anymore. But we talked to my friend that does it, and she is going to be part of the team in the social media / marketing division.
Yeah, and I think she'll probably end up helping because she's very interested in learning video editing and stuff like that.
She's already really good at editing photos and stuff. Like
yeah.
The companies that she would work for before would send her stuff, and she would do all of the editing for them. So I'm really excited to work with her.
Yeah, I am too, especially after we had that meeting with her the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, she seems all in, which is great because we want that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And, and we will also be offering that where we come and take pictures, videos, stuff like that for your social media specifically. I mean, if you have us there doing it all the time, that might be an extra charge or something like that. But that's all stuff that can be worked out. But we're excited for that aspect. And we still have more things we want to work on as well.
Yeah.
So we have, did your wheels just turn there? Yeah. So we have a lot of different things that we're looking to do under that LLC. Very excited, but also, as Amanda said, my brain works in a way that I want everything to be perfect before it gets going. So I'm gonna have to get rid of some of that, I suppose.
Resistance.
Really, I don't even need it to be perfect. There are a couple things 2 things I'd like to do to the studio before that's done.
Yeah. So basically everything that we're doing here is, what we're getting around to.
Yeah.
Media production company.
Yeah.
Let our business help your business.
Yeah.
I really in general, I just love seeing businesses grow. It's always been something that people have come to me for, in general. And I think it's another reason Dave and I decided to jump on it is that we had a conversation one day about how when someone's growing their business, they tend to come to us and ask us questions.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know if me building the yoga studio or me doing the makeup company, or I don't know what it was or how that happened, but I love helping people with ideas to grow their business.
Yeah, I do too. And, I always just think like, yeah, I'll help you. And I just help any way I can. But here I am sitting, working a job that isn't pursuing anything of my own. And it's like, oh, well, maybe if we're going to help people, maybe we can help ourselves at the same time. Got to take care of ourselves in order to take care of other people.
I just love, I don't know. I love like letting my heart do what it wants to do. And that's like one of the things that like fulfills me is helping other people be their best selves.
Absolutely.
So we chose the one you feed. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we chose the one you feed because it's from I don't know if you call it parable or what you call it, and we're not sure of the origin of it.
No one's sure. Not just we're not sure. Just
yeah, nobody is.
The ties back to its lineage is
questionable,
uncertain.
But so when I was making a bunch of transformations, for those I've talked about it on here, but for those who haven't listened to the podcast before, recently within like the last 2.5 months, I've lost 40 pounds. I drink drastically less, and I don't eat trash anymore. So I made all these changes, and for a lot of people, and including me when I first started, I was very nervous about how mentally I would react to these changes. And I think it's hard for a lot of people to stick to those changes. But for me, two things that really helped me were war.
I noticed that, but I wasn't going to say anything.
Two things were this parable, or whatever you want to call it, that Amanda had posted on Facebook about two wolves that live inside of every person. And there's a constant battle going on inside. And one wolf is like, for lack of a better term, the dark side. Yeah.
Jealousy and hate.
Hate, greed, envy, all these things. And then the other side is like the light, and full of hope and, wanting to do good, all of that. And this old man is telling young Cherokee, is what I think it says in there, but telling him about this. And the kid says, well, which one wins? And the old man says, the one you feed. And I loved it. And then the other one was the War of Art. Yeah. And it just talks about resistance. And really, I only read about the first 50 pages of that, and that was enough to keep me going. And then when I got past that, he wrote some things I wasn't a huge fan of. So
we chose the one you feed because we want to see you feed your good wolf.
Yeah.
We want to help you out.
We want to help you out. Help us help you. I think the social media thing, the more I think about it, I think is great for this area too, because there's a lot of places that have social media that aren't either active or just they don't manage it well.
Well, it's hard for business owners. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur of any kind or a business owner of any kind, it's just hard. Like you're stretched into so many different directions constantly. That you don't really have time to social media, to be honest. And that's another thing I ran into. Like I was working, like you said, working other jobs as well as trying to grow the yoga studio. And I wasn't having time to keep up with the things that I needed to keep up with. Yeah. So choosing to make that decision for yourself and have someone else manage your social media is going to be something that just frees you up to do the other entrepreneurial things that you have to do.
Yeah. And I think in today's age, having a good social media is
so
important.
Yeah. It's crazy like how that progressed too, because it used to be like advertise your business in the paper, advertise with a billboard, advertise on Instagram, really, like that's the thing. So now like you have to be well-rounded too. Like you have to do all the things. You have to be in the phone book. You have to have a physical like brick and mortar presence. It's crazy the directions that you have to go.
I truthfully think that whether I like it or not, social media is the most important. I mean, the thing that people look at the most today is social media.
If I hear of a business, no matter where I hear of it from, I go to Google and I type it in and see if I can find their website. Yeah. That's what I do. I want to know what your website looks like. And then, to be honest, I always gauge if a company is legit or not by what their website looks like.
Yeah. That's another thing we might help people out with, too, is websites. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not that we're extremely technical in that aspect, but Amanda was messing around with one for the one you feed, and it ended up looking amazing. And So we might end up doing some of that for people as well.
Yeah. I try to just, I don't know. I'm one of those people that if I see something that needs done, I like let myself dig into it and figure it out.
Yeah.
Somebody the other day asked me, they're like, what don't you do? And I was like, I don't know. I just kind of let my heart do what it wants to do. I'm not great at, I don't know, website stuff to me. Remember that day that I had told you that I had to figure out how to code the email like into my, and then we ended up in I ended up down a rabbit hole of, oh my God, how do I get this code back out of here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were freaking out a little bit.
I was so stressed out. So I can do a little bit, but my brain operates much better teaching yoga than it does behind a computer.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and especially with how your yoga business is growing, I think it's definitely something you have to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a love for it, and it just seems to be growing and growing. I mean, constantly on social media now, I see people posting about your yoga studio, not on your format, but on their own.
Yeah, it just makes me happy to be able to, like, there was no yoga here.
Yeah.
I mean, when I opened the studio, you had to either go to Pittsburgh to find hot yoga, or there was, I honestly don't know if they were still there or had moved to Weirton. But there's 2 other yoga studios in the area. And I just think it's great across the board that people can experience yoga here.
Yeah.
Where we are. And if you're not from here, we live in a small town. So
yeah.
To bring that to the small town makes me happy.
And you have one thing I think a lot of people don't understand is that it's okay for there to be competitive businesses in the area.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
You have no animosity towards them. A lot of business owners don't see that. They see every business that pops up as like the
like
enemy.
Separation, yeah.
And I think that's just ridiculous.
Well, I think that yoga in general is not that way.
Yeah.
Yoga is for everyone.
Yeah.
So I kind of approach my business that way. Every teacher is different, and the other studios have teachers that are amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone should limit themselves to one studio. I mean, you go somewhere and you get comfortable. I am that way I'm very picky with the studios that I go to, but
yeah,
I think everyone should be open and kind of,
I think at least experiment. And then if you find one that you like that you want to stick with, then you stick with that one. I mean, like with anything in life.
This is something that, like, I'm going to pull business away from myself maybe, but if you find a teacher that you like, please go experience other teachers.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Like, you'll find out what you do and don't love, and you might love the teacher that you love even more if you experience other teachers. So please go experience other teachers, because they're going to say things. I mean, all the time I go to classes, and that teacher will say something that I carry over into the way that I teach. There's just, I don't know, everyone's so different in the way that they teach yoga.
Yeah.
It's just cool to experience.
Absolutely. Back to the social media, which you were saying, it's hard to run your own social media. Like, honestly, even for me, for the podcast, like, I'm just now getting better at it. A lot of that has to do with you helping me do different things to get interaction. But I always feel like I don't have time, and sometimes I forget to do it because I'm working my regular job. Also, then on my days off, I'm recording anywhere between 3 and 4 podcasts. Then I have to get them edited and put up. Like, I actually have one I still have to get finish editing and put up.
Time is the most valuable resource that you have.
Yeah.
And what you're doing with that time depends on how far you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, time is money.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so it is hard I would imagine, even as a business owner, to find the time to do that. And to find the time to learn how to really do it well.
Oh, that's one thing that I'm very grateful for, Unique for. The multi-level marketing business that I did was through Unique Makeup. And they spent so much time helping us learn how to market on social media. Like everything. Like not just like boost this post or like, I don't know, use these like technical tools or the algorithm. But they taught you, like, what do customers want to see? Right. Like, how do you help people by sharing what you have to share? Yeah. It wasn't just products and technology. It was psychology and relationships and actually caring about people.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, it's just so important, like I said, because it is what people see the most. You're going to see it more than you see a billboard, because everywhere you are now, people always have their phone, and they're always looking at it. Actually, just the other day, I forget what we were doing, but you were like, addicted. You pointed at me because I had my phone in my hand.
I did. Yeah, I noticed that. It's something that it's exciting at first when you learn how to do marketing.
Yeah.
But I noticed that Dave like was really proud of himself for putting up like his like polls and stuff in his story. But then like as I don't know, you were like editing stuff and we like ate food together that day, and I noticed that you checked like how many people had voted on your poll.
Yeah.
At least 3 times within 20 minutes, and I was like addicted.
That doesn't sound like me.
As a creator, you create the things that you create, and what other people think of it isn't necessarily up to you or any of your business. So it's just like finding that like separation of, I've created this thing for this purpose, you put it out into the world, and then you let it multiply.
Yeah.
So it's just like, not to get super serious on that very like lighthearted comment that you made, but it's true. Like if you get addicted to watching what the reactions are to the things that you put up, how much time are you wasting on other things that you could be doing? Yeah.
Well, I think it's just, and like you said, I think it's a thing that has to do with just how new it is to me, because I've never done anything like that before. I would like post like a bullshit picture and be like, "Hey, new podcast's up. Please go watch."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
you weren't like engaging with your audience.
Correct. Yeah. And now, I don't know, when I do stuff like that, for now, like, it's a little exciting. I'm sure eventually I'll be like, oh, okay, now I just need I did it. Now let me put it away.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing to watch and see who reacts either way, so that you can actually like form connections with people rather than just, hey, here's this thing, please come listen to me talk into a microphone. Yeah. You're creating connections with the people that
do listen,
patron, quote unquote, patron your business. Yeah.
And then I did recently, I like trying to interact with the people too, because I recently made a post where I had a lot of reaction to. So, and I made sure I replied to every person. Yeah,
it's so important. I mean, I like, regardless of business or not, like I genuinely love connecting with people. Like, I think that not to be like, I don't know, that like sometimes I say this and I'm like, that's kind of cold, but I love humans. I love like, not to generalize either way, like male, female, I don't really care. I love people. Like, I love to connect with people. So even though it is kind of distant because it's through a phone screen or a computer screen, still connection. Yeah.
I think it's one of the reasons I started a podcast, because I do actually genuinely enjoy people, and I like talking to people and finding out about them. Like, I enjoy people till you give me a reason not to enjoy you. Then I'm like, all right, I'm done with you. Get out of here.
I mean, you have to have like that boundary of,
boundaries.
You are a soul-sucking human. I'm going to step away. I still love you, but I'm going to love you from way the fuck over here.
Yeah, slowly back out of the
room. Love you from at least 20 feet away.
Yeah, there's actually a restraining order. Oh, man. But yeah, so I'm excited for all that. I'm nervous and excited.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about it as we work out all the kinks. We have a very baseline for the business right now, so there's a lot of moving parts around that baseline, and we'll tell you more as they come together.
Yeah, I mean, literally, we've been talking about it, but literally we just got approved for the LLC like a week ago. So we're definitely at the beginning stages, but excited to see where it goes. Quit judging me for wanting to fix up the studio.
I'm curious, off topic, I'm curious if you rocking in that chair because you can't help yourself, if you can hear your voice get farther away from the mic and then back closer.
I don't know. Typically, I feel like, do I keep rocking when I talk, or do I stop and get
you've been rocking like for the last like 10 minutes. My precious. It's a little creepy.
I need a chair that doesn't rock. It's just the natural motion in this chair. Maybe
it's also just like like the yoga in me has made me just hyper aware at all times, and I'm just very aware of my surroundings at all times, and I like can't help but notice like your nervous ticks.
I'm aware of you playing with your bracelets.
I play with my hands constantly. That's one of those things, like, I say this in yoga, like, what is moving when you are not?
Yeah.
And usually it's your thoughts or, but even when you're not moving, there's a part of you that wants to move.
Yeah.
Normally, unless you are some kind of Zen yogi master.
Yeah.
There's a part of you that is, like, in the background thinking or moving, or for me, it's my hands. I fidget with my calluses on my fingers. And
Yeah. I definitely, my mind is probably the biggest one, but maybe when I'm at my most non-moving is when I'm laying on the couch with the dogs.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty much napping. So
Yeah.
I like naps.
Hi. you need that.
Hi, my name is Dave, and I like naps.
Professional napper.
Professional napper.
Yeah.
I needed that shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naps and podcasting.
Naps and podcasting, my two favorite things. That and peanut butter hot wings. Oh.
Yeah, so Dave was like, we should eat wings after the podcast later. And I was like, okay, I like wings. And I'm just about to start this, like, on Monday. I'm not a person that waits for Mondays to start things. But isn't Monday, like, the first of the month? Like, Monday also falls on the first of the month this time?
I'm not
Yeah.
positive, but
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
March 1st is Monday. But I'm participating in this, like, challenge with other people, and they wanted to start it on Monday. So Monday I start this thing. So over this past, I don't know, 2 weeks, I've been seeing how much food I can fit in my mouth. So Dave was like, we should get wings because we haven't had that yet. And he brought up these peanut butter hot wings. And I don't know how I want to feel about peanut butter hot wings.
Well, truth is, the first time I had them, I got them just for the novelty. Like, well, I have to try them.
Yeah,
but
well, that's one of those things you, like, have to try.
Yeah, well, and I ordered other wings. So I was like, I'm obviously not gonna like these.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after I ate all of them, I was mad that I ordered these other wings because I wanted more peanut butter hot.
Have you ever had? I don't remember.
Favorite wing sauce of all time?
Peanut butter hot. I had it down at First Friday, one weekend. I can't remember if it's Numbers Brewing Company or if it's Hightower. I feel like it's Hightower, but they make a peanut butter porter. So good.
Hightower does a great job with their porters and stouts.
Yes.
They had an Oreo stout.
Oh
my God.
And I don't like sweet things. If it has anything sweet in the title, like even like milk stouts, I don't. That's not. It never has been my thing, but
to me, you have to do them really well.
Yeah.
Because I prefer like an IPA or an Imperial Stout.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get that Oreo flavor with the right amount of bite and somehow marry
it
that.
It just can't be sweet.
Yeah.
For me. I don't like sweet.
It's such a beautiful thing.
I mean, I like sweets. But not if it's a beer. Nope.
I've seen you just throw candy at your mouth.
Oh, okay. That's not true. I am a really, really messy popcorn eater, though.
Yeah, it really is popcorn, just throwing it.
It's really just this one specific brand of popcorn. So, what is it called?
Chicka Boom.
Yeah, Boom Chicka Pop. That's
Boom
what
Chicka
it is.
Pop.
Chicka Boom.
I knew if I said it, I knew that wasn't it, but I knew if I said it, you'd get it. Cha.
Boom Chicka.
Boom Chicka Boom. Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Pop. Anyway. All right, Amanda. Tell us about your popcorn, Amanda.
I think I can compose myself after. How embarrassing. So, Boom Chicka Pop makes this sweet and salty, like, half kettle, half salty popcorn. It's not super salty. It's not crazy sweet. It's just like this in between that I have eaten whole bags at a time because I love it so much.
Well, and typically half a bag fits right into the macros.
Yeah. I'm like, how much space do I have in my, even like going throughout the day, sometimes I'm like, okay, if you leave 7 grams of sugar and 18 grams of carbs, you can have Boom Chicka Pop later. I know exactly what fits into my macros for that popcorn.
I like how we're acting like Chicka Boom is so much more weird than Boom Chicka Pop.
Boom Chicka Pop is what it's called.
Well, yeah, I get that, but
How would you like it if someone was like, "Oh yeah, that Labs Feedy Wolf thing"?
that Labs Feedy Wolf thing.
Yeah.
That sounds more like feet than like food.
Yeah, exactly. So how would you like it if someone chopped up your business title and served it up as a laughing stock?
Labs Feedy Wolf thing. Sounds
Yeah.
like that changes it completely.
Exactly.
It's like Labrador Feet Wolf.
Yes. And you would not appreciate that.
I'm already upset about it.
Yeah, exactly. So, how do you think that Boom Chicka Pop feels when we say Chicka Boom popcorn slaps?
Slaps.
They're already mad about it.
They're not sponsoring us.
They definitely know who we are. They're listening to this podcast.
Definitely
right
know
now.
who we are.
Obviously. Listen to us.
I will say, every time I've seen you eat the Boom Chicka Pop,
There you go.
every time you constantly look at the nutritional chart or whatever it is.
I'm always debating if I want to go over my macros or not.
Because every time I'm like, Amanda, you've read that 13 times. You don't need to look at it anymore.
I always calculate how much over my sugars I want to be if I eat it. I'm like, do I want to add 100 calories? Yes, I do. Don't mind if I do.
Don't mind if I do.
And then I finish the whole bag, and I'm like, well, shit, here we are again. It's a problem.
You might have an addiction.
I have lots of them. Don't get me started.
Oh my god, so I was picking up snacks the other day, and I was like, oh, Smart Life popcorn. What a trick just adding smart into your name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I picked it up. I was like, this is worse than every bag of chips I actually looked at in here.
Do you know what else is a complete hack? I'm pretty sure it was Boom Chicka Pop. On the front of it, it said whole kernel, like whole grain.
Yeah, whole kernel.
What popcorn isn't whole kernel?
And
yeah.
if it's not, what are they making it out
Yeah,
of?
and it had like this super fancy, like had a little leaf by it and said whole kernel just to make you think it was healthy.
Yeah.
Marketing scams.
Yeah.
I mean, you should go buy Boom Chicka Pop in bulk right now.
Yeah.
But
Because if not, Amanda's going to buy it all.
Yeah. Okay. We actually have stock in it already, and we're rich.
We're rich.
No, but that's a good idea.
It's not a bad idea. You know what Warren Buffett said, don't you?
And then, I mean, I would support my own.
Yeah. You know what Warren Buffett said?
No, go ahead.
He said you should only invest in things that you know and love.
Yeah, well, I'm looking it up right now.
Which is why he invested in Coca-Cola. Because apparently he drinks a lot of Coca-Cola.
I like it.
You're looking it up right now?
Right now.
You can't. In so many ways, you cannot resist that popcorn.
So many ways. It's irresistible.
It's irresistible.
This is why I'll never be married. I love food too much. It's the real relationship in my life.
It is absolutely your one and true love.
Lear is first. But
That's true.
I can't find it. This is I'm gonna have to do it later.
Yeah. I figured that was going to take too much effort. It's probably under some
Yeah.
overall company. You're going to have to look at the back of the bag again.
Oh, there's a bag underneath the table here at the studio right now.
I was not aware that was there.
It's actually 2 bags.
What?
Yeah. The other one's
The regular
a basic sea salt.
sea salt.
Gosh.
Get out of here.
Uh,
What a letdown.
yeah, that's how you can know. That's how you know I spend time here. There's popcorn underneath the table.
And pieces of it everywhere.
Everywhere.
I was laying on the couch the other day and I was like, what is... Oh, a piece of popcorn.
It's my game fuel. It's what fuels the Be Kind podcast. Okay, Boom Chicka Pop, I'm really going to need a sponsorship now. Can I get a yes, please?
You need one from them. I need one from On It. Come on It.
It's really funny. You want to be sponsored by like a well-renowned fitness company, and I'm like, popcorn.
What's surprising to me is I still feel like, I mean, they're obviously a successful company, but I still feel like there's a lot of people who don't know about On It.
What it is. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you say Aubrey Marcus's name, and people are like, who?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, where do they live? Down the street, or?
Yeah, to me, it's not that surprising when they don't know who he is, because there's two worlds that you have to live in to know Aubrey Marcus, and it's the one is the on it world.
It's true.
And then the other one is like the elevated mind world,
which is how I found him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because him and most of those guys down at On It are all about seeing how far you can take your mind, whether it be with breathing techniques, hallucinogens, whatever. They are all about expanding their mind. You know, he was recently, like not that recently now, but probably like a year or so ago, he was in like a really terrible car wreck.
Yeah.
And it messed up his face, and he refused to get surgery.
And I think that's...
He was like, this is how my face is now.
Yeah.
Which I admired, to be honest.
Yeah.
And his wife still loves him, so.
Well, I would hope that your significant other wouldn't love you less.
Yes.
Based on something like that.
I'll tell you what, it was really weird, though, because, you know, I've followed Aubrey Marcus for a while, and for a long time he was with this woman named Whitney, and they had an open relationship.
Yeah.
And they talked about it all the time and about how it was actually more difficult than people expect.
I 100% think that would be crazy difficult.
Yeah, because it obviously a lot of communication, but no matter what, he said, even though you know that you're both agreeing to this, there's still like an amount of jealousy and hurt.
Yeah. Well, because we're human.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it seemed like almost out of nowhere, like it went from that to he was married to this woman.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, but him and Whitney are still good, but it just kind of threw me off because I didn't see the...
Yeah.
And maybe they just weren't public with the in-between.
Well, do you think that... it's going to go into another conversation, but do you think that is... I know a few people who have open relationships, and I also know a few people that have had an open relationship in the past, and then, like Aubrey did, moved to a traditional style. Do you think that is dependent on, like, do you think it's in your genetics, or do you think that it's, like, based on, like, you can change?
I definitely think you can change, and I think sometimes it's just maybe where you are at that point in your life.
Yeah, that's a really big thing. Like, I think that some people choose to be in quote-unquote open relationships because they're just not sure.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't really know if I want to be committed to this person, but I don't want to lose you, so let's be in an open relationship.
Yeah, I think there's a high probability that a high percentage of the time it is actually just a selfish act by one of the two people in the relationship.
But I also can see it, like, I do believe that there are also people who just love all people.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're in a healthy communicating relationship with one human and you choose to bring other people into that, I think it can be a healthy thing. I think it's
probably for some people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I think that every time it happens, it's one person being selfish.
Right.
I do think there are not even a possibility. Like, for sure, there are people that choose to live their life that way, and both people in the relationship are happy living their life that way, without a doubt.
I'm not for or against any of that. I try to, I don't know, everything that we experience is so individual to who we are.
Yeah.
As people, and I think that people are free to change at any time.
Yeah, and we're also incredibly different.
Yeah.
And then definitely free to change at any given point in time. And I think what gets hard with in that scenario is like if one person changes and the other doesn't.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, which could be something that happened to him. He was ready to change, and person he was in an open relationship with wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's crazy. I don't know.
Actually, what's funny is she is not, as far as I know, because I follow her as well, but she is not in a relationship. He's married now, and I think there's a high probability that is what happened. And when it started, he was the one who initiated it. And now he's the one that ended up married. Yeah.
People are going to listen to this and probably think like, oh my God, I could never. I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm for or against either way. It's just an open-minded conversation, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to think about.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, it's for some people, not for other people. I don't think you should judge people who do what makes them happy.
We're going to judge. Just because we're human. Like that instant, like it pops up reaction in your head. Yeah, but you don't have to like live in that. You can be like, oh no, like if that's what makes them happy, I don't understand it, but cool.
Yeah, because it doesn't really affect.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me either way.
Yeah.
My opinion on it's gonna affect me. So why be attached to an opinion?
Right.
Don't. Yeah. I think that some things are important to have opinions on, but boundaries.
How other people live their lives.
Yeah, it's not
is not really one of those things you should be overly
There's
attached to.
no way. I've said this in the podcast before. There's no way I could say what you should or shouldn't do because I haven't known you since you were born.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't lived in your head.
Yeah, and even if you had known them since they were born, you still may not know everything that makes them tick and everything that releases serotonin in their brain.
Yeah.
No.
Humans are fascinating.
Extremely.
I never thought I'd be this into science.
Science.
I love it. That and Boom Chicka Pop. And my daughter.
Food in general, really.
Yeah, well, no. I don't really care for peas that much.
But I didn't mean like every food. But I would say there's a minimal amount of food that you really don't care for.
Oh, yeah. Food is 100% my love language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, feed me.
Feed me. Not physically.
Yeah, don't be weird. Don't try to like physically feed me. It's a good way to get throat chopped.
Violence, Amanda. We've been over this.
Yeah. I don't have to act on it. I can just say I'm going to throat chop somebody. It's part of my yoga training. You think about hurting people. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Very zen of you.
Have you ever seen those yoga memes that are like yoga so that I don't kill somebody today, or like yeah.
I showed you that one meme the other day. It said life hack: tell your boss you have to get something out of your car. Go home.
You're fired.
Right.
That's how you get fired.
It's not really a life hack. You're gonna have a real struggle after that, but hilarious nonetheless. Oh man.
I don't know how long we've been on this podcast, but I just got really hungry.
And there is sushi in the building.
I'm starving.
All right. Well, we can wrap this up because we actually have plenty to record today, and we actually only have about a half hour before Tony gets here anyway. So
I feel like that was such a short talk.
It might have been an hour, 45 minutes, probably somewhere around there.
Somewhere around an hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I think honestly, the last time I looked at my clock before we started, it was 12:30 and we hadn't started yet. So this is a short episode for you.
Yeah, very short episode.
Super short.
I've been trying to keep them shorter and shorter though, because apparently 3 hours is too long. I listen to 3 hours.
Who told you that?
A few people.
He's giving me the death stare right now. Okay, but to be honest, like if I have to start a podcast and restart the podcast and start it again over a 3 hour period, I'm in my car for maybe, I live really close to my job, so
yeah,
I'm in my car for maybe 15 minutes, get out of the car, go to my job or go to the grocery store or whatever. I'm not going to listen to a podcast that's 3 hours long. I have never, as long as we've been friends, I have never started and finished one of your podcasts. Yeah. Because the ones that are longer. Like I listened to Hannah's all the way through because I also love your sister.
Yeah.
But
and those are typically shorter ones.
Yeah.
Well, with for me, the main podcast I listen to is almost always 2 to 3 hours long. I did have to find out how to. It's the Joe Rogan podcast, Joe Rogan Experience.
I feel like 2 hours is doable.
Yeah, mine have typically now been like anywhere between like an hour and 15 and 2 hours.
I think it's perfect.
But I used to come home, drink, play Madden, and listen to podcasts. So there for a while, I wasn't even really listening to podcasts, and now I've gotten into the habit because it's also podcasts are also where I get a lot of my information.
Oh yeah, I listen to a lot.
So
of podcasts.
I wasn't getting new information really.
Yeah.
And but so I've recently started listening to Joe again, but I go in my car, I put it on, and then just put it on again when I get back in the car and listen to all 3 hours. Usually with how short I'm in my car now, it usually takes about 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just an hour to 2 hours is awesome. I think it's a good time frame.
Yeah. If a conversation is going really well, I hate to cut it off.
I know, same. I kind of feel the same way. And especially because I'm the kind of person that like I have to settle and like get comfortable.
Yeah.
And sometimes that takes me like half an hour.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt myself today. Like I
noticed.
Yeah, my energy was off today, and especially now that I haven't been drinking as much. At the beginning of the podcast, like I haven't drank on the podcast or during the podcast in a while now, and since that, it's the social lubricant of it. It's made it even a little bit more nerve-wracking when I first start, which is weird because I'm pushing 100 episodes, but
But
sure
you've only been doing it while not drinking for the last couple months.
Yeah.
So do you think that will get easier? Like your brain will just
Oh yeah. I mean, it always gets easier just as I'm going.
Right.
And I've also still gone into all of them with no game plan, and they seem to be going well.
Yeah.
So, which is what I prefer, because I really just want to have a I
Yeah.
really don't even want to talk about anything too specific, you
Right.
know, unless somebody has something they really want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to have a conversation with people I enjoy talking to. That's really my goal, not a set purpose.
Do you know what's happening when you're showing up and not choosing to not drink when you start? Science. You're rewiring your brain.
Yeah.
You're creating new neural pathways.
Yeah,
that's why it feels so hard.
Yeah, actually, sometimes before I start, I just smack my head a few times.
Oh, well, that's confusing. I picture all these little, like, I don't know why. I picture, like, as I was saying, like, you're rewiring your brain, I was thinking of these little, like ant people driving cars through your brain. And like, no, we have to go this way this time and make this new road. Because he's not drinking. We can't go down that road. He's not drinking this time. We have to make this new road. Oh my God.
I feel like you've given me a very simple mind.
I don't know. It's just like I said, when I was little, I used to try not to think of anything, and then Cinderella would pop in my head. So.
Cinderella dressing yellow.
Okay.
Hey, I watched a lot of those movies. I had a little brother and sister. But I guess we will wrap this up so we can eat sushi.
Yeah, let's do it.
I do want sushi. Yeah. Real bad now.
Well, we're going to have to eat sushi now.
Yeah. All right. Well, give everybody your social media stuff. And
if you don't follow me already, you can find me on Instagram as Amanda M. Gill, Amanda.m.gill, and Amanda Gill on Facebook. And you can listen to me more on the Be Kind podcast on all major platforms.
What about Empowered Yoga?
Well, if they find my personal page, they'll find Empowered Yoga because it's tagged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is The Gathering Fools, and we're going to eat sushi.